What's up, everybody? Patrick from wpbuilderhelper, and in today's episode we're going to talk about the craze that is hitting everyone so hard, and that is not page builders. Funny enough, it's actually the Gutenberg market and all these other builders that are coming out and they're doing stuff. So I'm going to walk you through, I'm going to talk about them, do some stuff, add some footage in there and stuff like that of showing me building with it so it's not all boring. And we can continue to talk about it and everything like that. All right, so let's get started. All right, guys, so here we are at I'm on the Blocksy homepage, but I noticed that this keeps happening now. So in case you're maybe brand new to the whole Blocksy and, cadence type of error, there's basically these two builders that are kind of jumping out there. Not builders, but themes that are jumping out there, and they're making a name for themselves, and they're doing this by inserting headers and footers into things. So what's happening is there's a crossover happening where you have people literally joining Gutenberg groups because, and if you take and you look at something like Stackable, they're a prime feature. I was actually going to get Stackable, and it was just way too expensive. But Stackable had a lifetime license, and I was thinking about getting it, and it wasn't in the cards for me this time around. But you're seeing people go towards these kind of builders, the Stackable builder, and if you go back and you look at this post, what you'll see is a longtime builder, user, completely versed in Gutenberg and systems like Blocksy. I'm really tired of paying annually for builders that sit idle except when I modify a page or create a new one, but have ridden this long with training wheels, and I'm having sort of a hard time duplicating things that I can't do in a builder. So, some people would take and they point out, they'd say, well, what are you struggling with? But I want to show you two pages that were specifically built with Blocksy. Now, I don't know if these were built with Gutenberg or not, but this is one that was built. And if you look at this, I mean, it looks fine. And it was built with Gutenberg, and I'm sure Blocksy. I'm sure that's how they built all of this. But it looks perfect. It's a nice site. I don't think that there's anything wrong with this. I don't think that there's, it's not anything magical, I would say. It's not the most magical website that's out there. But for the most part, I can't fault this person. I think this looks really good. I think a lot of it looks really good. And this was posted on the Blocksy website. So there's literally people out there who are creating homepages now, and they're doing it without the use of page builders. And the funny thing about all of this is that you'd probably find if you went and looked, and I'm sure that this one isn't even optimized, but let's for giggles take this page, and I'm sorry to whoever posted this on the forums, but let's just take and run it through GTmetrix, okay? And this is where I really think that you're going to see something like this shine. Not because Blocksy is, so much better, but because people are starting to go to the fact that these builders now are, they're slowing people's websites down, and I think it's become a thing with people now, and I think that they know that, and so they're moving towards a Gutenberg type system. And yeah, so you can see it's not really, this is probably a bad example, but the performance is pretty bad on here. 2.5 seconds, but it's also coming from Canada to wherever this is. So it's a different website, it's not a US based website, so there's a little time difference, but I think that this site is pretty good with Gutenberg. And if you were to take and do this same exact site and you were to create it in Divi, you would get a totally different thing with longer content paints. I'm not sure. He probably doesn't have any caching set up or anything like that, because you can obviously see this is a development site. So don't judge this by just this. But the point being is these sites are turning out to be fairly well. They're pretty good. And here's another one that somebody built. that once again is Bloxy and Gutenberg, I would guess. I'm sure it uses something else because I've never seen this in Gutenberg. But, you know, there's things in here that these people are building. And I think that this is pretty cool that people are just building this stuff without the use of page builders. And when you take and you look at this and you look at what they're doing, it's not that it's just the most amazing thing that's out there. I don't think anybody would say, oh wow, this is just the greatest looking page ever. But what this is doing is it's making it to where Gutenberg is becoming the go-to thing that people go to. I mean, if you just go to WordPress and you type in Gutenberg and you start looking at all the page builders, you find Stackable and you find, you know, this Getwid. There's more than that. There's way more. I mean, just going into WordPress and looking for it, you're going to take and you're going to find so many plugins under Gutenberg that, well, I should have went to .org. Sorry about that. WordPress.com is the one where you actually have to pay them money, and WordPress.org is the other one. So if you just go into plugins and you just type in Gutenberg, you're going to see very quickly that the number of extensions that pop up for here are just insane. There's Cadence, there's Gutenberg post blocks, there's disable Gutenberg. Well, disable Gutenberg isn't necessarily a Gutenberg. There's these blocks, there's these blocks, there's these blocks. There's this block set, which is the one I was just showing. There's, you know, these starter templates. There's these. I mean, Gutenberg is making a name for itself, and I think people are jumping on the train, and they're realizing now that it's time to get on, because if page builders don't tighten up, it's going to get harder to take and fight against Gutenberg. So that's what we're looking at today. Like, I wanted to look at some of the Cadence blocks on their Pro theme, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take a look at it and see. It says Quibbly, but just ignore that. I have Quibbly on here because I was testing it. Really disappointed with most of Quibbly just because of how slow it was and how inefficient it was. Some people would argue that it's okay because this is a lot of the Quibbly stuff, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, I think this is all of the Quibbly stuff. Yeah, this is all the Quibbly stuff, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember off the top of my head. That's probably pretty bad. But the point being is that you have that kind of stuff, and it's just an aggravation. Like, I can't stand when you have a builder and it's just really, really hard to use that builder. And I think that now that you've got certain things that are going on with this, you're starting to see things that are really, really easy. As a matter of fact, I wanted to see, let me see. So I don't know. I know how Quibbly imports a layout, but I'm not sure how they import layouts in here. So my guess would be that there's some way to import. And all right, so here we are, and I had to actually upload, rather than activating this, I actually had to upload the starter templates, which is what Cadence uses. Right now, these are free. I don't know if they cost anything, but let's take a look at them and let's kind of go through them. Kind of similar to what we did with the Quibbly templates. You'll notice there's a lot less, but I know that for a fact, certain people have been talking about stuff coming out. So if we go in here and we look at SaaS development, one of the things I really like is they have all of this stuff in here where you can go in and mix and match this to whatever color scheme you want to. I really like the fact that you can go in there and just mix and match your color schemes. You can even change your font families if you're trying to get a different font family, just so you can see what the font families look at. This theme building thing that they're doing here is really, really, really cool. So this is one of the things that I'm talking about that Cadence is kind of doing, where they're letting you look at this site and they're letting you see what it does, and it literally imitates that of a page builder. And it imitates it so well that it gets to the point where you're like, okay, why do we even need a page builder? I mean, and that's the beauty of Bloxy and Cadence and some of these other themes like Astra that are adding this in here. So we'll start importing this just for, giggles and just kind of like look at it. But the whole point of this is that they're starting to put some pressure on the page builder market. The page builder market is really going to need to start looking at what they're doing, because these blocks are not only more, they're not, so I won't call them as, if you went and you looked at something like, let's say, a Divi website. Divi is a very robust website with a lot of options. Everything that you put in Divi is big. It's huge. And so that's one of the things about Divi. Divi's just a big builder that's out there. It's got a lot of options. It's got a lot of stuff that you do. But with page builders, not page builders, but Gutenberg builders in these blocks, you're literally getting almost the same exact features. So all this is a transparent PNG. This is a heading. This is another heading. This is a button. This is another button. And you're getting this kind of thing, and then this is a background. So that's all you have. Now, the one thing that I've complained about for a while, that's been my whole big thing, that I just never really liked, was the fact that it's hard to build on this, to me. I mean, that's just me. Other people may say, no, that's not true, and I'm like, each their own. But to me, it's a little hard to build on these. I've always found it to be a little bit hard. But Cadence has done a really good job with the blocks, and I think that there's other block builders out there, Stackable and some of these other builders. They're doing really, really amazing things. But they're doing a good job of taking and allowing you to customize this the way you want it. You see how I can literally click and do this. That's amazing. That's great. The fact that you're allowed to do this and you can easily kind of pick and choose the way you want something, you can totally change the way the layout works for something. And when you have something like this, you just saw me change the layout. This went from a side-by-side layout to an up-and-down layout where, this is really big under it. And then if you wanted to, you could even go in there and you could probably adjust things like negative margin or margin settings. So bottom margin, you could go in there and you could adjust the margin. You could adjust anything that you want to. So you've got the same basic principle of basic builders, which that is where people are going to. And I think that what people are starting to realize is they're starting to realize that these builders are just as good as the builders that are out there right now. And just like that guy said before, you start looking at these builders and how much they're choosing to take and charge per month, and it just gets insane. I mean, if we go to take and look at Elementor hosted a sale this year, and I knew that this was going to happen. I'm always talking about Elementor's pricing because they're like the king now of pricing, right? But I think one day this is going to come and bite them back in the ass, and I think it's coming. I really do. I think that you start seeing websites like Oxygen Builder, and I think you start seeing websites like Divi, and you start looking at these websites and you start realizing very quickly, you're like, they've all got this pricing scheme, and it's a pretty good pricing scheme. I think that they're saying that this is a limited pricing available. I don't know. Oxygen tried to go to a monthly pricing, and I'm not saying that people wouldn't buy it, but I think if Oxygen goes to a monthly pricing schedule, I think it's dead in the water. That's just my own personal opinion. Although Oxygen has a better pricing scheme than everybody else. Oxygen, I think, could raise their price to this, and I think they would be good because this is a lifetime price. It is not a price limiting you and saying, okay, no, you can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do this. For $169, you get everything that you need. It's unlocked. You can use it. There's no questions asked if you need your money back. I mean, it's a good thing. And you're seeing the same thing with Divi. Divi's doing the same thing. So Divi has always been doing their pricing. And let me see if I can even find it. There's so much trash on this page. So let's look at the deal. So right now it's $187. I think it's normally $250. I bought it when it was $250. But with $25 off, and this is one time. So how can they charge $199 for 1,000 sites, and that is a year? And I think that's where people are getting fed up. These blocks, yes, some of them do, like for instance Stackable. Stackable does have a pricing structure that allows you to buy per year, similar to this, but I think more people are going for the agency lifetime price. Even though it's $500, it's unlimited. You could use it as many times as you want. You get updates for life. I know it creates a headache for the developers, and a lot of people say that it doesn't work. Tell that to Oxygen, tell that to Divi, tell that to Brizzy, tell that to other people who have had lifetime license and they do nothing but continue to grow. And so, I think you look at some of these page builders and you look at what they're doing, and some of these people are going, wow, okay, this is pretty respectable. Like, this page builder is it's pretty good. Like, it's much better than I would have thought. And I think that that's what people are looking for. They're not looking for these high functioning page builders where they're saying, okay, well, I got to be able to do this and do this and do this. No. They're just saying, can I do something fun in my page builder that looks a little bit different than everybody else, and is it going to cost me an arm and a leg if I do it? And I think that that's where we're coming to. We're in this this time right now where it's a really good time to be in both building and development and everything else, because you're seeing what can be done with very little. And I think that that's what's really, really cool. You're seeing this happen in real time. The Gutenberg page builder is only getting stronger, and there's people that I know do not want Gutenberg to succeed. I know, I was one of them. I was like, I don't want Gutenberg to succeed. Screw that. I don't like Gutenberg. But you're starting to see it take off, and I think that kind of thing, it tells you something. It tells you that people want it, and there's more people out there that want it than don't want it. And so you can't always go by that, and you can't always say, okay, well, I don't like it, so because I don't like it, I'm not going to use it. The problem is if you're a web designer or you're somebody who sells websites or builds websites, this is here to stay. All of this is here to stay. So do not go into this thinking that you're going to just escape this and then it's not going to be around next time or whatever. No, it's around, and it's around for good. It's here because people have realized that Gutenberg in general is more viable than they probably once thought, which was probably something that was questioned in the very beginning, but then they quickly realized, wow, yeah, there's some good stuff that we can do with Gutenberg. It's not all bad. And I think that that's where you're kind of seeing it. And that's what you're seeing, You're seeing this type of revolution. And I'm not saying that these pages look the best. I'm not telling you that they're the best pages or that they're even good pages. I'm just telling you that people are getting stuff done with these, and they're doing exactly what they want. And they don't come out that bad. They come out pretty good for the most part. I think most of these pages look excellent. And I think the fact that you can go in here and you can change things on the fly, clicking a box and changing it and doing this and doing that, is making page builders a little bit frightened. Some people would say, well, page builders are going to work with Gutenberg, but that's not what's happening. These two websites were built without page builders. And I know that not everybody's going to do that, but the point being is that more people are moving to this than not. Page builders, they're not dying. For a while I said themes were dying. This may be the thing that brings themes back. If themes start adding more conversation in by creating headers and footers and pop-ups and stuff like that, then a theme becomes more utilitarian. It becomes more kind of like Elementor. So, for instance, when we were taking and we were looking at the colors before we imported that theme, if Bloxy or Cadence or Astra or any of these other themes that now have header builders and footer builders, if they start including full theme customization where you can go in and customize colors and everything like that, which you can already do, but I'm talking about with the click of a button where a web designer can take and go in there and throw a color pattern in there and boom, you've got your color pattern for the whole entire website. Oh my God, the amount of time it saves. I keep explaining to people, using a builder is not about the builder itself. It's more about the efficiency part, and people keep forgetting that. Efficiency is a thing in life. It's a thing that exists out there, and I think that people really don't I think they take it for granted. I think they stop and they don't realize that efficiency is something that's important. People want to be efficient, and I think that is where we are today. People want to be efficient, and they want their sites to be fast. They want them to be friendly with Google. They want them to work. They want all of that to happen. But they don't want it to happen if it's going to break something or if something's not going to work or any of those things. They want it to be efficient. They want it to work. They want it to do whatever it's got to do and get the job done and make Google happy or make whoever it is that you're trying to do happy. And that's exactly what they're looking for. And so to me, it's a really, really easy switch for most people. And I'm not talking about web designers, because most web designers don't really care for Bloxy, and not Bloxy, but the Gutenberg builders and stuff like that. There's probably a couple of them that do, so that's probably out of turn. There's probably a couple of them who have said, you know what, I'm good with this thing, I'm going to learn it. And it is what it is at the end of the day. If it works out and it works out, then I'll stick with it. And if it doesn't work out, then screw it. I'll move to something else, or whatever the case is. I'll move to something so that it works. And that's where the real change is coming. You're seeing this like revolution, like I said, of people who are literally saying no more to page builders. Like, no more, I'm not doing this. Like, you're not going to take and tell me that I have to keep paying this stupid fee to you, and that's okay, because it's not okay. Most people don't like it, and they're not going to like it. And with these page builders just getting more and more amazing, you're starting to see more and more stuff that you can do. So, just looking at this, you can't yet. So if I copy this, so watch this. Let's see. Can I copy this? I don't think I can copy and paste. See, once again, another area that page builders are beating them. But when you start seeing more of these features move in, and I think Stackable has that where you can copy and paste. There's a couple of builders that have it that are in Gutenberg. When you start seeing more of a copy and paste and stuff like that that's in here, and you start have more of that page builder functionality, man, it's going to be really hard to get away from Gutenberg, because people are going to stop paying $200 for 1,000 sites, and they're going to start moving to things like Stackable, where I could just pay a flat fee of $500. At the end of the day, if I'm paying $200 here or I'm paying $500 for this, I'm going to choose this all day long, especially if they start building more stuff in these builders. And so right now, I think it's a mad race. It's up to you to take and choose which one you like. Right down below. Do you like page builders? Would you rather Gutenberg? Do you stay away from Gutenberg? What's your feelings? This is just what I'm seeing on forums. It's what I think is going on, and it's what I think is going to continue to go on. I think Cadence is going to continue to be good. Bloxy is going to continue to be good. All of the the builders that are out there, Generate Press has got their own blocks, I believe. So everybody's got some different blocks, and I think that these people are coming for the big page builders, because they're starting to realize there's a market there. And as long as there's a market, and as long as people keep buying it, you're going to keep having more innovations in the market. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed this, and I will see you guys next time.